Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is formulas across worksheets. Now, I've set this workbook up such that there's a list of numbers in the first worksheet, worksheet 1, but worksheet 2 also has a list which is the same length but different numbers. Worksheet 3 has another list, same length, different numbers. Let's go to worksheet 4 and compute the sum of everything that is in the first column or in this particular cell. So we go to 3, we want to calculate the sum of all the A2 cells. So we go to 3, we select A2 here, hit comma. You can see up here what is happening to the sum function. It's set up in sheet 3, then A2. So it writes the name of the sheet first, then the name of the cell, and an exclamation point in between. Then we want to go to sheet 2, select the same cell, and we're going to go to sheet 1 and select the same cell. It didn't let me select that cell because that cell was copied. So let's try that one more time. We want to do the sum. We go to sheet 3, select 31. Go here, select cell A2, which in this case is 12, comma. Then we go to sheet 1 and select A2, which in this case is 34. We close our bracket and we hit enter. So we get the sum of 3 numbers across 3 different spreadsheets or 3 different worksheets. An easy way to do that is we do sum here. We go to sheet 3. We go to sheet 3, select the number that we want. Then we hold down Shift and select sheet 1. So what it does is it selected sheet 2 and sheet 1. Up here you can see it has sheet 1 colon sheet 3. So again, if you remember from our ranges, that's the same as saying select the cell A2 in all the sheets between sheet 1 and sheet 3. And we close our bracket and we get 77. Because again, we did A2 again on all the sheets. But you can see the difference up here and down here. It's just an easier way if you want to compute things from the same cell. But if you didn't want to do that, say you wanted the average of 3 different ranges. So let's say you go in here, you select this range, just in the middle of this list, you hit comma, you go to sheet 2, you select a different range. And you go to sheet 1 and select a different range still. So you can see up here what has happened is it's done sheet 3 A8 to A19, sheet 2 A20 to A27, sheet 1 to A37 and A40. So we close our bracket, and since this is the average function, it will compute the average of all the numbers in all the cells in all that we have used in all 3 sheets. And the average is 61.5. So this is really handy, because what you can do is you can split up your data from your calculations. You can have your data in one worksheet and keep that completely separate from all of your calculations in another worksheet. Very, very handy. This is called 3D referencing. Sorry, let me clarify. 3D referencing is used in cell A3 because we have done sheet 1 to sheet 3 on A2 all the time. This is 3D referencing. This particular case is not called 3D referencing. This one is. It's not so important what things are called or what they aren't, but just if you ran across 3D referencing, you'd know what it means. So we've covered a lot in this lecture. It was much longer than the usual, but formulas are a very important part of Excel. Let's just recap. We calculated the sum function, the average function, count, countif, min, max. Most of these functions with the exception of COUNTIF. Take a range of cells and work on those cells. Do some work on those cells. COUNTIF takes a range as well as a condition. And the condition in this case was 1, and the range was our usual range of conditional, column B. SUMIF takes three inputs, one range of cell, a conditional, and a list of numbers to add. So does average. So I just draw your attention to the fact how this SUMIF takes 3 different inputs, whereas SUM really only takes 1 input, which is a range. It does take in many cells into account when computing when considering the range, but the range together becomes just 1 input, whereas the SUMIF function takes 2 ranges and 1 condition. And it does different things with both of the ranges and the 1 condition. It does all different things, whereas SUM does the same thing with all of its inputs. So we can just think of SUM taking 1 input, whereas SUMIF taking 3. The difference again is what it does with the inputs. SUMIF uses 3 different inputs to do 3 different things. One is the range on which the condition should be applied, second is the condition, and third is the range that should be summed. And if you remember the today function, let me write that down one more time. It doesn't take any inputs from the user and prints today's date. Then we looked at the if statement, which is very important. By doing this here, the if statement, remember, uses a condition to decide what to do. So the inputs are a condition, what to do if the condition is true, and what to do if the condition is false. These are the 3 inputs. Then we also looked at the isError function, which just tells you if the value of its inputs is an error or if it's not an error, and it just gives you a true and a false. We also looked at formulas across worksheets, which are given in sheet 4 here, and we also looked at 3D referencing, which in particular is this particular case of formulas across worksheets, where you have the same cell or the same range of cells in different worksheets. And that's about it for the formulas section. As always, I want to remind you that Excel is all about trial and error. So now that you have this new information and this new knowledge, use it, experiment, try different things, and try to find the best way to accomplish whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Excel is set up for trial and error type workflows. There's no need to memorize every single function or how everything works. That is just too much to memorize. So the way to do it is have an idea of what you want to do, and then look for ways of doing it in Excel. Remember, Excel has a very good help for its functions that you can access by going here, by seeking help on this function. And you can find tons of resources on the internet that will tell you or help you do whatever you're trying to do. So take advantage of that. Don't worry about knowing Excel inside out. Just try to adopt the trial and error methodology of working. And thanks again. And don't forget to do the exercises. Signing off.